We would have all lost money yesterday betting on suspension. We weren't debating whether or not he would be suspended by the SEC. We were betting how long he would be suspended. If I'd asked you, LT, one game, over a half game, over under, everybody would have taken the over yesterday. This kid didn't get suspended at all by the SEC.
I just don't even know how that's possible. I mean, everybody's seen the video by now, and it's egregious, premeditated, whatever you want to call it.
I think even Ole Miss fans thought he was going to be suspended. I think they were super relieved. I haven't seen Ole Miss fans arguing like, "Oh, you don't know the whole story," or "You saw a different angle." I mean, I think everybody thought the guy was going to be suspended. I'm baffled as to why he isn't. I said it on the show yesterday. I thought it might be the remainder of the regular season.
Yeah, I would have been surprised. I would have been more surprised no suspension than if you would have suspended him the rest of the regular season and the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how the postseason works. That's an NCAA event. I guess they would have had to done the postseason.
I don't know.
The SEC could obviously suspend him from the remainder of the regular season in the SEC tournament, but once it gets to the NCAA tournament, I don't know how. I would assume the NCAA would do whatever the SEC wanted there, but I didn't think it'd go that deep. I just thought the rest of the regular season was at least on the table.
Everybody's got conspiracy theories. Chris jumps in with his. I was about to bring up mine, Chris. It's different than yours. Chris says his is that the SEC wants as many teams as they can in the tournament. Ole Miss trying to keep their hopes alive there.
Well, one of their tickets in, Jim, might be Wednesday night. I mean, that's a high net win for them.
Yeah. Now, another conspiracy theory is that I almost tweeted this last night, but I didn't want to get into Jimmy Alabama debates on social media last night. But there, sometimes if Chris Beard reaches out and says, "Listen, I'm going to suspend him. You don't have to. I'm going to do it."
Well, I don't think he has he?
Yeah, I have not heard that. Yes. So we'll see if he plays in that. That'll be the one, and Ross is backing that up, and a couple people. Will Beard suspend him? And they said, did Greg Sankey reach out and say, "Hey, we're going to discipline Allen Flanigan. If you're not, hey, we got it taken care of. We're going to suspend him."
Well, on the Wague situation, Nate Oates said, "Look, if the conference had not suspended him, I was going to for a game." So I don't know if that's the way that works, because it seems like Oates was waiting to see what the conference did before he made a decision. So I don't know that the SEC would have reached out to Beard and said, "Okay, what's your deal?"
Yeah,
I wouldn't have thought they would have.
I mean, I think the SEC has to take the lead in that.
And here's what I think a little bit of this is going on. And I don't think it happens intentionally, but I think we are, because of what Nick Saban did at Alabama for so long, and the actual zip code of the SEC office. There is a belief at times around the conference, about to be 16 teams strong, 15 of them not named Alabama, that sometimes the league office looks favorably on Alabama.
Yeah.
And I know that's not true.
Well, you have to ignore stacks of evidence to believe that.
Yeah, and you know that's not true.
Of course I do.
But there is a public perception out there by 15 fan bases and sometimes 15 coaches that maybe Alabama gets a little wink and a nod.
We've had an Auburn player on this show actually say it. I mean, Bo Nix literally said the words that Alabama gets all the calls. And again, you've got to ignore evidence to believe that is the truth.
Yeah. But public perception sometimes can influence your decisions, even though you don't know it's doing it. Just so happens that Ole Miss's next game that a one-game suspension would have been happens to be against Alabama. And all of a sudden, if you come swinging into the defense of Alabama the way the 15 other schools see it, it's not always the best look.
But it's still Alabama basketball, and Ole Miss basketball has never got the benefit of the doubt on anything.
But this is one of those, Lance, where I think even if I want to make the argument, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to die on this hill. I'm not going to die on this hill.
This was Rudy Tomjanovich like. The intention there
it wasn't that bad.
I mean, the result wasn't the same, but the intention was there.
Oh, look, I mean, if you see the video, it was premeditated. There was definitely intent, and I'm just blown away. I've never seen anything like this. I mean, this is more so like what you got with Brandon Spikes with the eye gouge.
Yeah.
And I think Spikes served 2 games, 3 games maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I'm stunned. I really thought at least 1 game just based on the Wague situation. This was far worse than what Wague did, I thought. Didn't you? I don't think Wague's was good, but I thought this was worse.
Yeah. And the only thing I can go back to is Wague did not get kicked out of the game. And so a 1-game suspension sort of cleans up what the refs should have done. Flanigan did get kicked out of the game with the flagrant 2. And so a one-game suspension maybe isn't needed. Maybe that's the reasoning by the SEC office.
Okay,
the Wagee suspension cleans up what the refs missed.
Here's
right?
the problem. Like when the Lakers were really good with Kobe and Shaq, their so-called enforcer was Rick Fox. Now, when you looked at Rick Fox, he was a model.
He does not look
from
like
the
an enforcer,
Bahamas.
yeah.
He didn't, but that was a guy that tried to get under people's skins. And if you don't suspend a guy, like if I'm down 20, I'm going to send in a goon. Hey, look, take that
put him
guy out. Why would you not if your only repercussion is going to be you're going to be thrown out of that game? What does that matter?